You don't lose your balance in life because you're weak or naive. You lose it because certain stories sound true when you hear them, especially when they're spoken by people you trust. The mind has an extraordinary way of believing what it wants to feel. Someone says they're fine, and you take it at face value. Someone says they're being honest, and your heart chooses to rest there. But truth isn't always in the words. It's in the repetition, in the tone, in the silence that follows when you stop asking. In this journey, we're not decoding romantic lies. We're decoding emotional signals, the subtle ways the body and mind protect themselves when life becomes uncertain. Because the truth isn't just spoken, it's shown. Think about how often you've ignored your instincts to keep the peace. You felt tired but said you were okay. You felt disappointed but smiled anyway. You told yourself you were fine because you didn't want to seem ungrateful. That isn't weakness, it's hope. And hope, when it's blind, becomes the reason emotional exhaustion survives. This isn't about blaming yourself for believing too much. It's about learning how your emotions try to protect you, sometimes by lying to you in gentle ways. Awareness is not about control, it's about clarity. You can't take care of your health if you refuse to notice how it's being drained. Your heart doesn't just pump blood, it translates emotion. Every surge of stress, every wave of guilt or anxiety leaves a trace on your nervous system. When your mind feels threatened, your body reacts as if danger is real. Your heart rate rises, your breathing shortens, and your energy shifts towards survival instead of healing. That's why emotional honesty matters. When you say you're okay but you're not, your brain prepares for battle while your body quietly pays the price. Over time, this becomes chronic tension, high blood pressure, digestive issues, sleepless nights. The body keeps the score of every suppressed truth. We live in a culture that praises endurance but rarely teaches release. We're told to stay strong, keep working, move on, and not let anything get to us. But suppression is not strength, it's delay. Every time you ignore what your emotions are trying to tell you, you create distance between what you feel and what you express. That gap is where burnout grows. Your body begins whispering through fatigue, headaches, mood swings, and loss of focus. These aren't random symptoms, they're signals. And your job isn't to silence them, it's to listen. One of the most common emotional lies we tell ourselves is, I'm not stressed, just tired. It sounds harmless, even practical, but what you call tired is often the mind's code for emotional overload. When you say you're fine, your brain stops asking for help, and your nervous system stays locked in defense mode. Over time, that pattern rewires your emotional responses. You stop feeling joy the way you used to. Small irritations begin to feel heavier. You start needing more distraction just to feel normal. That's not laziness. It's your system begging for recovery. So how do you begin to break that loop? By paying attention to behavior instead of excuses. Do you reach for your phone before taking a breath in silence? Do you skip meals because you're not hungry, when deep down you're just anxious? Do you stay awake scrolling because stillness feels uncomfortable? Those are all emotional responses, not habits. And every time you choose awareness over autopilot, you reclaim a little bit of your balance. Your body doesn't lie, it repeats. When you stop asking it how it feels, it starts showing you instead. That tension in your shoulders, the tightness in your chest, the sudden fatigue after emotional conversations, they're all reminders that your system is overloaded. You don't need to fix it instantly. You just need to stop pretending it's nothing. The healing starts when you acknowledge that the stress you minimize is the same stress your heart carries. Another phrase we often tell ourselves is, I'll be okay once things calm down. It sounds logical, but here's the truth. Calm isn't something that happens to you. It's something you practice, one small choice at a time. Waiting for life to get easier before you rest is like waiting for the rain to stop before learning how to swim. You don't need perfect conditions to begin healing. You need consistency, daily acts of calm that retrain your nervous system to feel safe again. Try this simple exercise. Once a day, notice what emotion your body feels before your mind labels it. Don't say, I'm angry or I'm fine. Instead, notice the physical sensations, warmth in your chest, pressure in your throat, trembling in your hands. That awareness reconnects the body and the mind, the two halves of your emotional truth. Because when you learn to name what you feel, your body no longer has to scream it through symptoms. Healing isn't about becoming unshakable. It's about becoming fluent in your own signals. It's recognizing when you're carrying too much, even when your words say otherwise. It's understanding that emotional strength isn't silence, it's alignment. The more you align your thoughts, words, and actions, the less your body has to compensate. You might think resilience is about never falling apart, but in reality, resilience is the art of noticing when you're starting to. It's catching yourself in the small moments, the skipped breath, the clenched jaw, the forced smile, and choosing honesty over denial. Because every time you tell yourself the truth, your nervous system relaxes just a little more. Your blood pressure steadies, your heart rate balances, and your focus sharpens. You're not just calming your mind, you're protecting your heart. This first step isn't glamorous. It doesn't involve supplements or routines. It's simply awareness, and yet awareness is medicine. When you stop lying to yourself about being fine, you start creating space for real recovery. The next time you hear that quiet voice saying, "I'm okay," pause and ask, "Am I saying this because I am or because I need to be?" That single question can change how your body heals. Because the truth of how you feel isn't a weakness, it's the foundation of your strength. Every emotion your body feels has a purpose. Stress sharpens awareness, sadness slows you down to reflect, fear alerts you to danger, and even anger protects your boundaries. None of these feelings are enemies, they are messages. But when you suppress them, when you tell yourself you shouldn't feel what you feel, they don't disappear. They go inward. The tension settles into your muscles, your gut, your sleep. That's how emotional suppression quietly becomes physical exhaustion. Your body becomes the archive of all the truths you didn't say. Let's talk about the heart for a moment, not just as an organ, but as an emotional sensor. Your heart responds instantly to your inner world. When you feel anxious, it beats faster. When you feel safe, it steadies. Scientists call this heart rate variability, and it's one of the most powerful indicators of emotional health. A heart that can shift smoothly between calm and alertness is a heart that adapts well to life. But when stress becomes constant, your heart loses that flexibility. It starts beating in rigid patterns, reflecting the tension of your daily thoughts. The solution isn't just medication or rest, it's emotional regulation. When you train your mind to return to calm after stress, you teach your heart to do the same. This is where mindfulness becomes more than a buzzword. It's a biological reset. The moment you stop reacting and start observing, your nervous system begins to recalibrate. Try this. The next time you feel your heart racing or your jaw tightening, don't fight it. Sit still and breathe slowly through your nose for 5 seconds, then out through your mouth for 7. That extended exhale tells your vagus nerve, the body's internal calming system, that you're safe. It lowers your heart rate, relaxes your muscles, and restores clarity. 1 minute of this practice a few times a day can dramatically reduce tension, not because it erases your problems, but because it retrains your body to trust peace again. But emotional health isn't only about what happens in solitude. It's also about how you interact with others. Many of us confuse connection with caretaking. We think being compassionate means absorbing other people's pain. We say yes when we want to say no. We offer help until our own energy runs dry. And then when we're exhausted, we call it burnout. But burnout isn't a sudden collapse. It's a slow accumulation of unspoken no's. Every time you betray your limits in the name of being nice, you drain your vitality. Healthy compassion doesn't mean fixing everyone. It means caring without losing yourself. It's the balance between empathy and boundaries. You can listen to someone's pain without carrying it home. You can offer support without sacrificing your sleep, your nutrition, or your mental space. The difference is energy direction. When you help from alignment, you energize both of you. When you help from guilt, you deplete both. So ask yourself before saying yes, am I giving from love or from fear of disapproval? The answer will tell you whether your heart is leading or surviving. Another hidden source of stress comes from comparison. The human brain is wired for contrast. It measures safety by scanning for differences. But in today's digital world, that instinct is constantly hijacked. Every scroll, every post, every success story creates a subtle background of inadequacy. You don't realize it, but each moment of envy releases cortisol, the stress hormone, which signals your body to prepare for competition. The more you compare, the less your body rests. That's why digital boundaries are emotional medicine. Limiting screen time isn't about discipline, it's about giving your nervous system a break from constant alertness. Try replacing 10 minutes of scrolling with deep breathing or journaling. Your heart rhythm will start to stabilize within days. Nutrition and hydration also play a crucial role in emotional regulation. Your brain is 75% water, and even mild dehydration can elevate stress hormones and lower mood. Drinking enough water doesn't just help your body, it calms your mind. The same goes for blood sugar stability. When you skip meals or overload on refined carbs, your energy spikes and crashes, mimicking the emotional highs and lows of anxiety. Simple, steady nutrition, whole foods, balanced meals, regular hydration, creates the biochemical foundation for emotional balance. Think of it as feeding peace at a cellular level. Sleep is the body's most underrated therapist. During deep sleep, your brain processes emotional memories and repairs neural pathways. If you cut sleep short, you interrupt that healing cycle. That's why emotional problems always feel heavier when you're tired. It's not just mental fatigue, it's incomplete emotional digestion. To restore it, build a nightly ritual that signals your brain it's safe to rest. Dim the lights, stretch gently, avoid heavy meals late at night, and stay off screens at least 30 minutes before bed. The goal isn't perfect sleep, it's consistent recovery. Emotional healing isn't linear. Some days you'll feel peaceful, other days old fears will return. That's normal. The nervous system doesn't heal through denial, it heals through repetition. Every time you choose calm instead of chaos, truth instead of avoidance, your brain rewires a little more towards safety. The most powerful therapy is often the simplest: honest breathing, consistent boundaries, and gentle awareness. There's another layer to emotional awareness, the forgiveness. Not the dramatic kind, but the quiet decision to release what your body no longer needs to carry. Holding resentment is like keeping a muscle constantly tensed. You think it protects you, but it only drains your strength. Forgiveness doesn't mean excusing what happened. It means you stop letting it control your heartbeat. When you forgive, your body literally changes. Studies show it reduces inflammation, stabilizes blood pressure, and strengthens immunity. Forgiveness is biological peace. You may notice, too, that your emotional healing begins to change your relationships. As you grow more self-aware, you stop tolerating chaos disguised as passion. You stop needing approval to feel valuable. That's not arrogance, it's emotional maturity. You begin to see that peace is not found in perfect people. It's found in your ability to stay steady around imperfect ones. When you choose peace, you stop chasing validation. You start creating alignment. The most surprising truth is this: emotional health is contagious. When you practice calmness, others feel safer around you. When you speak gently to yourself, you unconsciously teach others how to treat you. Your regulation becomes a model. You don't need to lecture anyone into changing. Your presence does the teaching. That's how one healed person can shift an entire environment. Not through force, but through frequency. So as you continue on this journey, remember that healing isn't about controlling your emotions. It's about cooperating with them. Every feeling is a visitor. Your job isn't to chase them away, but to ask what they're trying to teach. The more fluently you understand your emotions, the less power they have to overwhelm you. The goal isn't perfection. The goal is presence. To live with awareness so sharp that even when life shakes you, your inner balance remains intact. Healing at its core is not a destination, it's a rhythm. The ongoing dance between awareness and action. It begins the moment you stop fighting what you feel and start listening to what it's asking for. Every emotion is a compass, not a curse. Anxiety asks for structure, sadness asks for rest, anger asks for boundaries, loneliness asks for connection. The body speaks this language constantly, but we drown it out with distractions: caffeine, screens, busyness, endless productivity. We call it coping, but often it's escaping. Real healing begins when you pause long enough to hear your inner signals without judgment. When you become emotionally fluent, you stop labeling emotions as good or bad. You start seeing them as data. Fear isn't failure, it's feedback. Guilt isn't punishment, it's a reminder to realign with your values. Even heartbreak is intelligence. It teaches you where you gave too much without receiving balance. The more you decode your emotions, the more power you gain to respond instead of react. Response creates clarity, reaction creates chaos, and clarity is what keeps your heart steady in uncertain times. Your nervous system learns safety through repetition, not reasoning. You can't talk your way into peace, you have to train it. That's why small, consistent habits matter more than dramatic changes. Try this. Every morning before reaching for your phone, take 1 minute to breathe slowly, place your hand on your chest, and say, "I'm here." It sounds simple, almost silly, but it anchors your awareness in your body. That gesture tells your nervous system you're not in danger, that presence is enough. Over time, that single practice reduces anxiety, sharpens focus, and strengthens emotional endurance. Movement also rewires the mind. Your body stores unprocessed stress in muscle tension, especially around the hips, shoulders, and jaw. Exercise isn't just physical release, it's emotional detox. You don't need hours in a gym. A 15-minute walk after meals improves circulation, balances blood sugar, and calms the stress response. Dancing, stretching, yoga, or even deep house cleaning can all activate dopamine and serotonin, the chemicals of calm and satisfaction. The goal isn't perfection, it's movement with intention. When you move your body, your emotions move too. Another powerful tool for emotional health is language. The words you use shape your biochemistry. Saying, I'm broken, floods your system with defeat. Saying, I'm healing, triggers curiosity and resilience. Your cells listen to your language. Speak to yourself the way you'd speak to someone you love, with patience, compassion, and truth. Replace, I can't handle this with, I'm learning to handle this. That single shift moves your brain from survival mode into growth mode. The mind obeys direction, not despair. Relationships reflect your inner balance. The calmer you are, the clearer you see. Emotional maturity isn't about avoiding people. It's about recognizing who amplifies your peace and who drains it. Healthy connections feel like space, not tension. You don't walk on eggshells, you breathe freely. You don't need to prove your worth, you feel it naturally. When you find yourself repeatedly exhausted by someone's presence, listen to that fatigue. It's your body's quiet wisdom saying, this isn't safe. The best boundary you can set is your continued peace. And remember, self-care isn't selfish, it's self-preservation. You can't pour calm into anyone's chaos if your own heart is running on fumes. Rest before you crash, reflect before you react. Ask for help before resentment builds. The strongest people aren't the ones who endure the most, they're the ones who know when to pause. Rest is not weakness, it's a return to balance. When you rest, your immune system strengthens, your hormones rebalance, and your emotional resilience grows. Rest is not quitting, it's preparing. If you've ever wondered why you keep repeating the same patterns, choosing the same types of relationships, reacting to the same triggers, falling into the same doubts, understand this: repetition is the brain's way of seeking resolution. You don't repeat because you're broken. You repeat because something inside you is still looking for a safer ending. Once you see the pattern clearly, you can write a different ending, one built on awareness, not fear. That's what real growth looks like, not perfection, but progress. The truth is, you won't always catch every signal or stop every spiral. You'll still have days where your chest feels heavy, where motivation hides, where peace feels far away. That's okay. Healing doesn't erase pain. It teaches you to hold it differently. You stop drowning in it and start floating through it. You stop asking, why me? And start saying, what now? That's resilience. The quiet decision to keep going, not because everything's fine, but because you know you can face what's not. You can think of emotional balance as fitness for the soul. Just like your body strengthens with consistent exercise, your heart strengthens with consistent honesty. Every time you breathe through discomfort, every time you choose reflection over reaction, every time you forgive yourself instead of replaying regret, you're building emotional muscle. Over weeks and months, that strength becomes visible in how you speak, how you rest, and how you love. So here's the real challenge: to live as someone who listens deeply. When you feel anxious, don't rush to distract yourself. When you feel sad, don't rush to fix it. Sit with it, breathe, and let the emotion complete its cycle. Emotions are energy in motion. They're meant to move through you, not live inside you. The faster you allow them to move, the less damage they leave behind. Stillness isn't stagnation, it's digestion. Eventually, you'll notice something remarkable. The things that used to shake you no longer do. The triggers that once defined you lose their power. Your peace becomes your default, not your reward. That's when you know you've healed. Not because life got easier, but because you learned how to stay balanced when it didn't. So if you've listened this far, remember this: your emotional health isn't separate from your physical health. Every truth you face lowers your stress. Every boundary you set strengthens your heart. Every moment of rest rewires your resilience. You don't need to be fearless to heal, you just need to be honest. Because honesty is how the body remembers it's safe. Your next step is simple. Stay aware, stay kind, stay grounded. Let your actions speak where your words once lied. Learn your signals, trust your intuition, protect your peace like your life depends on it, because it does. Healing doesn't mean becoming someone new, it means becoming who you were before the world taught you to hide. And that journey, though quiet, is the most powerful act of strength you'll ever choose.